Hello, welcome back to HITC Sport, and right, that is another Premier League game week down and dusted, right? Let's take a look at what happened. Right, let's go. West Ham versus Brentford. Okay, I know this wasn't the biggest game of the weekend, but I just want to cover this one first, because apparently everybody is shocked right now by Brentford's 95th minute win at West Ham. Almost everyone.
This is going to be a smash and grab 1-0 Brentford win. I can almost feel it in my nutsack.
A late Brentford win. No, it wasn't 1-0, but was I the only one who predicted this? A guy who did 2 laughing at Brentford videos? Come on lads, they're a good team. Man United versus Everton. Sticking Cristiano Ronaldo on a football bench. It's a bit like agreeing to let a Rottweiler lick peanut butter off your stomach. Sticking Cristiano Ronaldo on a football bench. It's like agreeing to let Boris Johnson sit on your bowels. That's a great way to puncture your kidney. Benching Ronaldo is a managerial death. It's the equivalent of taking food off Jonah Hill's plate. I mean, Andrea Pirlo left him on the bench against Lazio last season, and nearly had the Italian media trying to burn down his house. Good grace, the following afternoon, he probably had angry Ronaldo superfans chucking dead hamsters on his front lawn. From the media overreaction, you'd swear he sliced off Ronaldo's knob with a spoon. No, just left him on the bench. What's the problem? You're acting like he just left his newborn son on a park bench beside that creepy neighbor on a register. Crazy about even taking Ronaldo off the pitch, not letting him finish the full 90 minutes. Oh, good luck.
Cristiano Ronaldo leaves stadium early after being substituted again by Sarri.
I'm sorry. Leaving the entire stadium before the match is finished is unforgivable. It's the height of selfishness. Good grace, Paulo Dybala replaced him and scored the winning goal against AC Milan. So clearly it was the right decision. But by the time Sarri was giving his post-match team talk, Ronnie was probably already sitting at home on the couch tucking into a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios. Every manager, bar Jose Mourinho and Sir Alex Ferguson, has eaten out of the palm of Ronaldo's hand for club and country. So desperate not to offend the guy. Crazy move, it's like that Simpsons Halloween episode where Bart turns Homer into a jack-in-the-box. Ronaldo has the power to get a manager fired. Just ask Carlos Queiroz. And lads, he gets away with everything.
Cristiano Ronaldo reportedly insults Zidane's mother in Las Palmas draw.
Right, so when Ronaldo says it, nothing happens. But when Marco Materazzi goes there, he nearly gets a punctured lung. Weak managers with the backbone of a sausage roll. I mean, would he have tried it on with Sir Alex Ferguson? I mean, Ruud van Nistelrooy did. When he found out he wasn't playing against Charlton, he left Old Trafford in his car before the match even began. He never played for the club again. That was a manager. A proper manager. Ronaldo is a diva. It's a bit like serving as Justin Bieber's PA. I mean, serve him a slightly burnt piece of toast and he'll probably demand that you lose an eye. I mean, he's essentially Pop's answer to Joffrey Baratheon. I mean, female pop stars are the worst. I wouldn't be surprised if Alexandra Burke has got a bunch of butler corpses buried underneath the floorboards of her kitchen just because they kept forgetting to add sugar to a morning coffee. Well, Ronaldo's the same. If you choose to stick his nose out of joint, just be prepared for the wrath. So on Saturday, Ronaldo will be forced to sit next to Jesse Lingard for an hour. I mean, no wonder he looked furious at the full-time whistle. I mean, what do you think sitting next to Lingard must be like? What, him showing you his Snapchat stories? Asking him who'd win in a fight between Charizard and Bulbasaur? I'd imagine it's like being forced to sit on a plane next to a hyperactive toddler with a jar of Nutella in his hand. Ronaldo, he knows what he's doing at full time. The disapproving looks. You know, just like a horrified Catholic nun who's accidentally stumbled into a gay nightclub in Plymouth. This guy knows the cameras are on him. He could very easily have saved his facial tantrum before the showers behind closed doors, but no.
Ollie's benched me, so now the world must know that I'm furious.
But I'm sorry, every Man United fan, they're agreeing and screaming,
oh, Ollie should be sacked for benching Ronaldo.
Are you serious? Ronaldo might be a footballing god, but he turns 37 in February, 37 years old, and you think his body should be subjected to 2 high-intensity 90-minute games inside just 60 hours of life. He played 95 minutes against Villarreal on Wednesday. His bowels would have barely digested the cauliflower he had after the game. I'm sorry, sticking an 84-year-old man into a 12:45 Saturday morning kickoff, that's how you burn out a Ballon d'Or winner by Christmas. I mean, do you want him to look like a fried egg of a centre forward by March, spluttering around like a 6-foot omelette? Do you really want to see the great Cristiano Ronaldo stumble about like an overpaid Charlie Austin? 4 years ago, Man United overplayed Zlatan Ibrahimovic until he broke. Even last season, Marcus Rashford is 23. But because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's sick obsession with the boy, he played until he broke his shoulder and ruined his Euros. Ronaldo will hate it. He cannot face his own mortality. That's why I'm convinced that in 15 years, this guy's gonna have a face like Courtney Cox. You know, someone who looks like they were sculpted by the creator of Wallace and Gromit. I mean, in 40 years, Lionel Messi would have gracefully aged and just look like a regular old man. Ronaldo will look look like Simon Cowell's pecking plants. I mean, if he ever gets a bald spot, he'll probably cover it up with hair pulled out of the back of his son's head. But like it or not, he needs to be managed. Sticking him on the bench for a Saturday morning kickoff after a Champions League, that's not the problem here. The issue is that Man United once again lurched about with the enthusiasm and appetite of an anorexic shoe. Praise of Damari Gray is a man who Brendan Rodgers deemed about as useful as a wet plastic bag. And here he was, driving through your defence, muscling Fred out of the way as if he was made of Cheerios. I mean, Fred is supposed to be a midfield enforcer. Gray is a 74-kilogram bag of sand. He probably weighs less than a toilet seat, and he knocks you off the ball as if you're Fred Weasley. But yeah, Anthony Martial stuck Man United 1-0 up. Then Andros Townsend caps off a great team move with his 5th goal of the season before doing the shoo celebration. Apparently that was a tribute. No, I'm sorry. Ronaldo being forced to watch such a limited footballer like Townsend do his trademark jump without his permission? No. It's probably a great musician like Stevie Wonder feels when he hears a bunch of mechanics from Stoke attempt his songs to the X Factor. I mean, he had the choreography of a sexually frustrated librarian. Crazy above, Everton could have won the match. Tom Davies in this position. Shoot on goal. Opting instead to pass to an offside Yerry Mina. Clearly he's got the confidence of a toilet duck. You can tell with this man has just 6 career goals in over 150 games. But the fact Ollie was smiling in the 94th minute of the match. Yes, smiling. Like Smeagol when he finally gets his hand on the ring. Smiling like an 11-year-old boy at his first Holy Communion. I'm sorry, if you're allowing an Old Trafford enemy like Rafa Fax Benitez to leave the stadium with a point, then no smiles. This is like being caught grinning at your auntie's funeral. That's how you get your fat cousin to punch you in the jaw. Oh, and by the way, Paul Pogba looked like Sonic the Hedgehog. Chelsea versus Southampton. So Chelsea have finally beaten Southampton at Stamford Bridge for the first time since 2017, and only the 4th time since 2004. I know, it's mental, and it nearly didn't happen. Trevor Chalobah heads Chelsea 1-0 up after 9 minutes. You'd think that would be the moment where they would kick on and pulverize Southampton into the ground. Nah, Ben Chilwell, this is a guy who's barely kicked the ball since May, and so he's had his own personal lockdown. His ankles should be covered in dust. And so he chose to chop down Valentino Livramento inside the box. Last season, Chilwell was a £50 million summer recruit, being given a £190,000 a week salary. Marketed as the new Ashley Cole, right? Livramento was a 17-year-old schoolboy, probably begging for a selfie in the canteen. An England international like Chilwell probably viewed this Dudley Dursley lookalike as some teenage peasant who probably stunk of being poor, right? Chilwell, calm your ego, okay? Come on, you're not a £50 million world-class footballer. Come on, what type of world-class left-backs were ever called Ben? You're essentially football's answer to Will and E. Well, whereas last year, he was probably shoving Livramento out of the queue for the spaghetti in the canteen, now he's just chopped him down inside the box, conceding a penalty which James Ward-Prowse scored. But I'm convinced JWP just lost Southampton the game. Scores are 1-0 with 13 minutes left, and he decides to pick up a red card for nearly impaling Jorginho's foot. 7 minutes later, Timo Werner scores, and then Ben Chilwell smacks in a third. Leeds versus Watford. Watford are insane. Officially, this is ridiculous. You just lost 1-0 at Leeds with a pretty spineless performance, sure, but immediately sacking Xisco Muniz and wanting to replace him with Claudio Ranieri. This has to be some sort of sick joke. This is a man who's made a career out of getting sacked. I thought it was harsh when Roman Abramovich gave him the boot at Chelsea, sure, but I'm sorry. Since then, he's been bitten by Valencia, Parma, Juventus, Roma, Inter Milan, Monaco, Greece, Leicester, Nantes, Fulham, Roma, again, and Sampdoria. Good Christ, the poor man was even technically outclassed at 2016 Soccer 8. I like Ranieri, but I'm sorry, what does he know about relegation battles? Fulham bought him to Craven Cottage in November 2018, and he won 3 of his 17 matches in charge. The guy was gone before March. That Leicester miracle does not make him a world-class coach. Giving Danny Simpson free pizza, it's not tactical brilliance. I mean, let's not forget, he did have the likes of Riyad Mahrez, Jimmy Vardy, and Kasper Schmeichel. Nearly got them relegated to the Championship. That's almost impressive. Ranieri, he's a lovely man. Dilly ding, dilly dong, which is probably going to be the sound his bell makes when he asks to go to the loo in the nursing home in 3 years. This guy turned 70 in 2 weeks. His tactics are outdated. Honestly, if Watford appoint this man, then he will be sacked before the season is out, which will be a carbon copy of that Fulham disaster. I don't want that for a lovely man like Ranieri, a manager with a history of getting sacked, paired with a club notorious for sacking. It's like a woman with 7 divorces on her CV going out with Ross Geller. It makes no sense. Wolves versus Newcastle. Newcastle fans are tearing chunks of hair off their scalp. I mean, this was another dull result. Hwang Hee-chan, a man who I said would flop for Wolves, he just got both goals in a 2-1 win with a walking Irish Hamburg like Jeff Hendricks scoring for Newcastle. But lads, if you bin Bruce, who are you going to get?
I'd rather have Graham Jones and Steve Bruce. Yeah,
I'll give it anyhow.
Graham Jones, Bruce's number 2. Oh yeah, because giving the full-time position to an assistant manager, it works so well for John Carver. A guy about as suited for the job as Tinky Winky is to fix a car. Jones, he might be a good assistant coach. Yeah, he was in the England setup for the Euros, but so was Craig Shakespeare a few years ago. And I'd rather bite off both my nipples than ever let him take charge of a professional football team. He's got the authority of a slice of chocolate cake, which is ironically probably always on his mind. I'm guessing the man could probably recite the entirety of the Greg's menu before he can remember the name of his kids. But Jones is a man who was sacked as manager of Luton Town, lying second bottom of the championship. Don't you even think about giving him the Newcastle job. Eddie Howe is another option. Yes, he plays an attractive style of football, but it's always dangerous hiring a guy whose last job in football was relegation. And it's not like it was a complete sausage roll of a squad. In Bournemouth are a small club, yes, but I'm sorry. He had the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, Nathan Ake, David Brooks, Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson, Arnaud Danjuma. That's a better squad than what Newcastle have right now. He's been unemployed for over a year. He rejected Celtic in May, but I'm sorry, the longer you sit on the couch, the more easily you get forgotten about. I can guarantee he's the next Paul Jewell, right? Honestly, his next job will be a championship gig at someone like Swansea or Stoke. I mean, who is realistically available? I mean, good Christ. Alan Pardew was listed at 33-1. The likes of John Terry, Nicky Butt, Shola Amiobi. Good Christ, a return for Sam Allardyce. Joey Barton's only 20-1. What is this? It might actually sack Steve Bruce. There's going to be no ambitious appointment. It'll probably be Tony Pulis on a 6-month interim deal. And that is enough to make me feel like chewing a hole in both my bowels. Brighton versus Arsenal.
Arsenal hold off Brighton in stalemate as Mikel Arteta accepts point gains. Gunners hold Brighton Seagulls at bay. Arsenal hold Brighton in goalless draw.
Arsenal holding Brighton and Hove Albion. Seriously, this is a headline in 2021. Under Arsene Wenger, sure, towards the end, he didn't really have many title challenges, but he used to at least dominate possession in nearly every match. But here, Brighton and Hove Albion had nearly 60% of the ball. They had 21 shots to your 8. And that's something to be celebrated. The fact that it's October, and after £150 million spent in the summer, and you're still 4 places below Brighton in the table, a Brighton who just saw you drag a £50 million centre half out of their defence, forcing them to make do with a Shane Duffy who looked like a Poundland Titus Bramble up in the Scottish mountains last year. What is this? Burnley versus Norwich. 0-0, boring match. Liverpool versus Man City. One of the best second halves I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the first half, typically about as much fun as watching my granny take a dump in the bath. But the second half, Mo Salah sets up Sadio Mane to score, then scores a carbon copy of that Everton wonder goal from a few years ago, dancing past everyone in the box to score, and then Kevin De Bruyne nets an equaliser from outside the box, with Raheem Sterling literally curling up on the floor as if he just found himself at the centre of a bank robbery. What a game though, utterly incredible and so important neither side lost this one. And what an insane block on the line from Raji with just 4 minutes left. He won't get the acclaim, but honestly, that was as good as a goal. But what else? Jack Grealish had another pretty anonymous game. Why does Pep Guardiola keep selecting him ahead of both Riyad Mahrez and Raheem Sterling? It makes no earthly sense. The guy's played nearly 800 minutes of football this season and has 2 goals and 2 assists. 2 goals and 2 assists in 13 hours of football. What? Crystal Palace versus Leicester. It's happened again. Brendan Rodgers seems to love chucking away Leeds at Sellers Park. I hope he doesn't walk his dog around Croydon. Otherwise, the poor thing would definitely be getting hit by a taxi. I mean, remember Cristiano Ronaldo? It's 8 years later, and again, he still hasn't learned his lesson. They went 2-0 up through Kelechi Iheanacho and Jamie Vardy. Leicester should have controlled the game, bored their way to a clean sheet, but no. Michael Elise steps off the bench to hammer one in, and then Jeffrey Schlupp, a full-on hobbit, is allowed to launch a free header into the bottom corner of the net, before celebrating like a madman, despite spending 12 years on the books of Leicester City. Leicester are a team who moulded you. They are a club who gave you a priceless Premier League winners medal. They are a club who allowed you to go on trial at Man United as a striker. The same month that club also signed Wilfried Zaha. That was weird.
Jeffrey Schlupp, Man United discussed deal for Leicester striker.
Sir Alex Ferguson wanted to bring Schlupp as a backup to the likes of Wayne Rooney and Robin Van Persie. Are you sure? Despite mostly having the goal-scoring instincts of a gingerbread man? I mean, that was the season where Leicester had both Jamie Vardy and Harry Kane at the club, and yet Fergie was sniffing around Schlupp. What? There he is, starting up front in the Man United team with Jesse Lingard and Nyanazai, with Pierluigi Golini sitting on the bench. Bit weird. Schlupp. Schlupp doesn't sound like a Manchester United footballer. No, schlupp sounds like the noise a kangaroo makes when it drinks its own piss. Schlupp sounds like the noise Matt Hancock makes when he cheats on his wife. Tottenham versus Aston Villa. What more do you want me to say? Great 1-goal win for Tottenham. I still think Nuno Espirito Santo is getting sacked soon, but good win, I guess. I didn't see the match. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what do you think, right? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.